What's up, guys? In today's video, I want to talk about the Energy Department's proposal to make appliances more efficient. Mainly, this video is going to be about washers. I'm all about repairing washers and dryers to keep them out of the landfill. So I'm very much so on the green side of making them more efficient and making them use less water. But these machines have a lot of problems, and I want to go over those problems in this video and see if we can find actual solutions. And whether you lean left or right, I hope you watch this whole video just so you can look the actual problem in the eye so we could come up with a real solution. Not just a green solution for the planet, but also a solution that's good for the mom, that's good for the grandmother, that's good for everyone at the end of the day.
I walk past my guys and they say, "Dude, you stink." I smell myself, like, yeah, that's me stinking.
Ed thinks the problem might be with his brand new high-efficiency washing machine from Whirlpool. He says it doesn't use enough water to clean his clothes.
Yeah, I have dry spots after I pull my clothes out of the washing machine because it won't fill up with enough water and it's not getting all my clothes wet.
This is extremely common for technicians to get call-outs to do repairs on these machines for this problem. There's not much they can do. All they'll basically tell you is to put it on deep cycle, and sometimes deep cycle doesn't give you that much more water. All right, I found this little video. Check out what Whirlpool says they expect these washers to do. It's pretty much what they're doing.
Items will be saturated but may not be completely submerged in water. This is normal for a high-efficiency washer and still provides excellent cleaning.
Here's the featured deep water that they want you to use. Look at the water that's in there. Almost none.
Whirlpool explains these machines are designed to save money, adding water based on the weight of the clothes. But online forums and Amazon reviews are filled with hundreds of complaints involving similar high-efficiency top-load washing machines.
If you think there's a lot of Amazon reviews, you gotta look at the YouTube reviews of these machines. I think it's just frustrating.
It is. It's frustrating as hell.
So, what's your conclusion?
It's a piece of shit. Absolute piece of shit. And most of the new ones are.
So buy an old washing machine.
Keep the one you have.
Keep the one you have. So now it's hardly put any water in. It's going into... How can it do wash cycle? There's no water in it.
That's it.
That's insane.
Yep. So these on the top.
So you have to do two or three loads.
If I hadn't have wet it, it wouldn't be wet.
If I hadn't have wet it, it wouldn't be wet. What is she talking about? She's using the hack where if you wet the clothes before you start, the laundry machine will think that they're heavier, where it does that little spin to see if it's heavy enough and how much water it's going to add, and it'll add extra water. Now, she showed us before how much water was in it. That's not much. That was after she put these 2 buckets in and the machine added extra water. And if you look, that's a reasonable amount of clothes. It's not like she's overloading this machine. In case you're wondering, yes, front load washers, a lot of the high efficiency ones have the exact same problem with not adding enough water. People are working their way around just like they're going to and add more water to the machine so they can do a regular size load.
Use some water. At least this time, use some water. I don't have just 2 socks and a pair of underwear over there. Please use some water. I could just do 5 loads.
Which this you'll hear a whole lot, especially from people that don't know the hack of like adding water to the machine to be able to do a decent sized load. They'll just separate their clothes into several loads, which if your machine's using half the amount of water of a regular washer and you've separated to 3 loads, you're using more water. Even if it's half the amount and you're doing 2 loads, you're using the same amount of water and twice as much power. One thing I need to mention is the amount of time these washers take is dramatically increased. I've seen over an hour and a half cycles, where old washers, it used to be 30 minutes, at the most 40 minutes, and we're nearly doubled. Just want to make sure everyone knows that there's more than just a water problem here. One of the things that washers actually help to reduce is amount of plastics that go to landfills because of disposable diapers. I know this sounds kind of gross, but this is a regular thing that happens on a regular basis, especially among people trying to save the planet and be green and get that plastic out of landfills, but also for poor people. Diapers are outrageously expensive. If you've not looked at Walmart lately, take a look. People are spending a lot of money every year just for diapers, and a lot of people can't afford it. And if you can't use the same amount of water we used to be able to use to be able to do deep cycle, you may not be able to clean diapers, especially in a regular washing machine, or be able to do a slightly larger load that would save water because you only have to do one load instead of two. So what about getting a washer with an agitator versus one with one of those propellers? Wouldn't the one with the agitator take a lot more water? Kinda, if it's a rule of thumb, and that is true for some washers and not for others. Definitely do your research before you buy, because I have seen some washers with agitators not have much water in them. The Department of Energy is lowering the amount of water for top loads and for front loads. They see no difference between a propeller and an agitator. So what about top loaders versus front loaders? Which one would be better if you had to go with less water? And the answer to that is definitely a front loader. A front loader works by flipping the clothes over on top of each other, similar to how a dryer works, where a top loader, if you use very little water, it's hard for it to turn the clothes. That's why you're hearing them say the clothes aren't moving, the ones on top are dry.
Yeah, I have dry spots after I pull my clothes out of the washing machine.
So you have to do two or three loads.
If I hadn't wet it, it wouldn't be wet.
Okay, that's nuts.
Now, I'm not an expert in this new proposal. I don't know exactly what will happen. I don't know exactly how much less water they're talking about, or if it will affect the deep cycle only, or if it won't affect the deep cycle, only the normal cycles. But they do say they're going to lower the water level and lower the amount of heat that they're going to use in the water. So what's my opinion on this? And I'd much rather hear your opinion below in the comments. I'm sure there's a smarter person in the room than me. But as a guy that's worked on appliances for a very long time and fixed a lot of different washers and seen a lot of different features, here's what I think we probably should do. So my thought is, there's a side of the equation that no one's looking at. It's not just how much water the machines use, let's lower it every couple years. At some point, there's also the equation of, is this making the machines less dependable? Because if it is, you're throwing a bunch of washers into the landfill more often. If you have a washer that lasts 30 years versus one that lasts 5, now in a 30-year span, instead of one washer ending up in a landfill, you're talking about 5 washers ending up in a landfill. And not only a landfill, the energy it takes to produce these machines is dramatic. You're talking about metals and plastic production. You're talking about factories, deliveries. There's all kinds of other equations here, not just water. But water is a big part of the equation for how dependable the machines are. And just like a car being low on oil makes it struggle to run, the same thing happens with a washer. If there's not enough water in it, it makes it really overwork the motor, overwork the gears, overwork the agitator to be able to turn the clothes. Another way to save water is reusing the water that's coming out of the washer, meaning the rinse cycle. That's usually fairly clean water. It's coming out at the very end, and that water is fairly clean. Not clean enough to drink, not clean enough to probably reuse to wash clothes, but you could do like a lot of countries do, and we could use it in the toilets to flush the toilets. They do this typically with sinks next to the toilet that will drain into the toilet tank. But these are just my ideas. I'd much rather hear y'all's ideas in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time.